6. It's going to be Lifecoach versus Eloise in our penultimate match of the day. I'm Matt's Admirable, joined by Firebat and Ignite here on the desk. Firebat, unfortunately, out of the tournament due to the group stage. But other than that, how have you been enjoying yourself?
Yeah, it's been a really great event. Hanging out with everybody is always really fun, and I've gotten to cast a lot with you and Noxious and everybody, so it's been a blast. I've had a really good time.
Ignite, it's been a while since I've seen you, man. How you been?
It's been a couple of years, yeah. So, out of the tournament as well. Welcome to Shaman Zone all over again, but I'm here ready to cast some matches and hopefully some more even tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys are definitely in for quite a long one here. It's another Lifecoach match, but it's always a pleasure to watch him play. He's always hunting for something outside of the ordinary and the obvious that's in his hand.
And, I mean, it might not even be that long. Last time, this is a rematch. Eloise versus Lifecoach already happened a little bit earlier, and Eloise made quick work of him. Actually just 3-0'd him with the Pirate Warrior really quick. Yeah, the Pirate Warrior's looking really strong in this tournament. A lot of players have gone straight towards the Dragon build, but Ignite, it looks like Pirate has kind of been the talk, or Pirate Warrior rather, has been kind of the talk of this tournament.
I'm not sure people actually expected that. Everybody's like decking up Dragon Warrior and taking it out with 1-2 flex slots. And I actually came into this tournament banning Dragon Warrior as I saw it as more of a threat than Shaman, considering my lineup, for example.
Yep.
Because it curves out so well. And the 9-9, the Curator just gives them more fuel than the Ragnaros, etc.
Yeah, it's tough to beat a strong curve, but we're kicking it off with Warrior versus Warrior.
Yeah, this is Lifecoach's counter deck to the Pirate Aggro Warrior, the Dragon Warrior. It's typically more favored because it has pretty much the same early game as the Pirate Warrior, except instead of curving into Arcanite Reaper and upgrade and going face with it, it plays taunts, which just beat the next progression of the deck. So if you look at the decks, it's Pirates versus Pirates, you're like, okay, it's a tie. Then the other guy's face damage and the other guy's taunts. And you're like, well, taunts beats face damage.
Yeah, especially if you have time to armor up within that and Ignite. Eloise draws patches in the opening hand, and Lifecoach now knows it. So what's going through his head right now?
He kept the Iker, and whereas if Eloise played Buccaneer with patches, Iker wouldn't be as strong if there was any sort of weapon on Eloise's side in turn 2.
Yeah, no surprise to see this on turn 1. Just a great contest. And Eloise got her work cut out for her very early on.
Even if she had a weapon to finish this off, Lifecoach also has the Ravaging Ghoul that could just kind of clean it up.
I think this is for the first time. She's actually maining Bash in her Pirate Warrior for face damage.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this choice as well. It feels like a strong tech and like a Pirate Warrior mirror match. So I imagine Mortal Strike. It's sort of the natural cut there where instead of having Mortal Strike in the mirror match where it's a relatively weak card, this can actually kill Kor'kron Elite. And then you get a refund on the life total, and it can also go face at the same time. So I feel like in an actual Pirate mirror match, that card can give you quite an edge in the right situation.
Depends, though, if she actually expected to have a lot of Pirate mirror match, considering the popularity of Dragon Warrior amongst the pros for the past week.
Yeah. I would say so. I mean, I don't really see another reason to run Bash unless it's alongside Mortal Strike.
Well, this turn, though, nothing looks pretty. It might be just going all face here, and that would get extremely punished by the Ravaging Ghoul from Lifecoach's side.
It feels like the game's over because she has to go face.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like a trade is on the menu here. That just feels awful.
Even if Eloise does take the trades, the Ghoul still punishes pretty hard.
Except this way she didn't get the damage, but the 2/2's no longer there, so... I'm not sure it actually makes much of a difference. And this is kind of just an early example of what you were talking about, where the Pirates got a lot of early game, but the Dragon Warrior can take care of that and then scale very quickly. Yeah, and this Ghoul from Lifecoach could come down, or he could even be a little bit greedier and choose to go with Frothing Berserker instead, and then maybe try and squeeze more value out of the Ghoul. I actually don't mind that either, because the Frothing Berserker is largely uncontested to everything except Heroic Strike in this spot. And if he sees Heroic Strike onto his Frothing Berserker, it means Eloise isn't playing a 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm sorry, or a 3-drop.
Like if Coach plays Coin Ghoul, Frothing could come down for Eloise and goes uncontested. Not that it's going to deal a lot of damage, but it's going to stick to the board at least. So it might be a consideration of playing Frothing preemptively. Because always needs two instances of damage to kill it in this situation, unless there's Axe upgrade specifically.
Yeah, and this is one of those things I'm talking about. Lifecoach, he's going to dig deep And he's looking at turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. Like, how do all these situations pan out differently based on combinations of cards? And what does it mean for my hand right now? And he's going to conclude that Ravaging Ghoul is paramount to his success right now.
I guess so. And Eloise has actually the ability to answer this. You know, you develop the Bloodsail Cultist, you do not get the Battle Cry effect, but a 3-4 beats a 3-3, and, you know, that's just math.
Yeah, and then not only that, but in the event that Lifecoach has Frothing Berserker, if the Ravaging Ghoul doesn't run into that Bloodsail Cultist, Kor'kron Elite's going to get some work done.
Oh, yeah.
So it's looking like a little bit of a tough spot for Lifecoach, but he picks up a small-time Buccaneer, and that patches could come in pretty handy, I'd say, over the next couple turns. I mean, it looks like his board's going to get value traded pretty heavily.
Sure.
I think might just Frothing, though.
Yeah, this turn seems like a good opportunity to play the Frothing, but if you do play the Frothing, you have to trade into that 3-4, which feels really bad and opens
Because
yourself.
of Kor'kron?
Yeah, because of Kor'kron. If you get to get Kor'kron, you could just lose. Like, you could actually start falling behind.
See,
No, but you
that's what
got
I like.
patches to ping off the...
Yeah, that's why
Kor'kron.
I like
you
the
got the
Buccaneer.
patches, yeah. But then you can't develop your own Kor'kron on
You
the
can't ping
following
the other
turn,
one,
I
but
guess.
Buccaneer will be taking care of
Don't you know how
contesting it.
Dragon Warrior works? He's going to draw like an Azos First Mate or second Ravaging Ghoul or Fiery Lorax or something.
Sure.
Is there a second Ravaging Ghoul?
I think there is. I believe
Not a lot of
Lifecoach is
room
playing
for
the
it.
same build, and I recall her having 2 Ravaging Ghouls earlier.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'd be a little bit surprised if Lifecoach was letting the Wifecoach play with a different build. He's like, no, play this Dragon Warrior. yeah. I just don't think he'd do that.
That's pretty good.
See?
Well,
Telling
now
ya.
he's able to make the trade cleanly, but yeah, he opened himself up into the board potentially kind of snowballing, not in his favor.
It's just Dragon Warrior, man. Six got it.
Deck's got it. It is one of the hardest counters to Pirates out there, so if you're looking for a deck that beats Pirates, it's Pirates with then some taunts.
Yeah. It's everything Pirate Druid wants to be.
Okay.
It's like Shaman versus Pirate Warrior, though. The whole interaction with the small weapons, the cheap weapons, and the feral spirits
Yeah.
ends up just running away with the game.
Yeah, plus the occasional Stoneclaw totem. I mean, Stoneclaw sometimes just beats
As well,
a Pirate's
yeah,
deck.
of course.
They're relying on that 5 damage from Arcanite Reaper, and you just go, bloop, he's Stoneclaw.
That's the best feeling, when they have to actually just Reaper your taunt totem. That's
And then they set the second Reaper, and you're like, yep, that's what this
And you
that's
just-
what this Feral Spirit's for.
Happy Feast of Winterfell. Every
It's gonna
time
be
you roll
short-lived,
in.
though. Get a month, another month of that probably.
Yeah,
Maybe
this
less.
is downhill for Eloise at this point. Lifecoach still at 27, and he's taking the board.
Holding on to the Pirates to try and get an upgrade on a weapon. Maybe if she's able to string enough upgrades on a Reaper, win the value game?
That's gonna be it. That's a tough call. I like where your head's at.
I mean, you got to have a plan, right?
Sure,
You got to
sure.
figure something out. Well, at least she's going to be able to upgrade this weapon potentially, but I don't even know if that's good enough. It allows you to clear the Drake, though, so you do get some board presence kicking. Okay.
Are you clearing? What?
I don't mind it
believe
clear here. I
not.
mean, you're trying to preserve your 3/4
I mean,
in the spot.
Your opponent's at
Preserve?
27. I think you
You
maybe-
need to demolish their health total.
Man, that is a
How?
long way off. Yeah.
How are you demolishing
how
that
not?
health total?
How not?
You got no cards that are 27. You got to snowball the board.
You got to draw some Arcanite Reapers.
You gotta pull some Dr. Booms out of underneath your sleeve or something.
Ignite,
here.
Ignite palms right into the forehead at this play. Ignite is very in favor of full face here.
I mean,
There's 2 lines of play, right? There's the one where it's like, I hope Lifecoach has just garbage in his hand, and I outvalue him with my weapon and my board, and I get chip damage every turn. And the other play is, he's probably got decent cards. I'm going to go all face, and I'll just draw Reaper into Heroic Strike into Heroic Strike into Mortal
and
Strike.
he never draws taunts.
And he never draws a taunt, right? Like, those are the 2 lines
I think
there.
that's more feasible.
Eloise has decided that, maybe Lifecoach has all small minions, and I can control the board. That's her.
Yeah, so-
that's what she thinks is
So
more
one
feasible.
side is the rock, and the other side is the hard place.
Yeah, that's it.
She definitely
she's
is
right
going to
there.
get some chip damage in, but how significant is it going to be, right? And now he's
Well,
just denying it. It's like,
The
okay, I'm
chip
going to
damage
shake your
is
Kor'kron.
done. He's even armoring up
Exactly.
instead of playing the dragon.
Exactly.
He's in for the long haul.
And she's got to hold that. for
Not a hot
taunts.
draw. If there's only any way that Pirates could draw cards, I think she might be in this game.
You need the ancient of lore for pirates.
Yeah.
The pirate library.
Ancient of Lar. I'm down for some pirate draw.
No, we don't need this.
Yeah.
The next expansion, they give Pirates card draw, and now you got combo OTK Pirates, Space Pirates.
Yeah.
They just rename the game Hearthstone Heroes of Pirates. Like,
Yeah. Just dock the ship.
Hearthstone.
Ironcraft.
Yeah.
You dock the ship, you draw a 1 cost, a 2 cost, and a 3 cost pirate. Yeah. Perfect.
I mean, they
First
needed
neutral
something
spell.
to replace Heroes of Warcraft. It's just Heroes of Patches.
Finley.
Okay.
Could be
that's
that card draw.
There we go.
And the Heroic Strike's wiping out this Twilight Guardian.
1 and 8.
I tell you what, if Life Tap happens here, it's brilliant. I think it's a 37.5% for a specific hero power.
Okay.
37.5.
I think so, because it's a
3 to 8.
you get 3 tries with 8 of them in there.
She didn't even use the armor up prior to playing the Finley. She was all in on hitting the life tap here, which I like.
Yeah, I personally love it because if she draws anything she could couple with the board here, it means that she gets to Heroic Strike and play that minion. So say she tapped into Frowning Berserker in this spot, you'd be able to Frowning Berserker, Heroic Strike, wipe the board, and suddenly there's a real threat.
Yeah, and that's just way better than the potential 2 life upside.
And you can see how desperate the value battle is right now.
Oh, yeah. Not even taking
Reinforce
Hunter.
has been taken, and she's trying to go wide and get multiple repetitive attacks out of these 1/1s.
We're calling in the dudes.
I mean, 1 ghoul's been used, just paladin them.
What do you think about this, Ignite?
I mean,
Well, save your breath, I guess.
I like the dudes. Maybe they can mount a comeback. Into
Yeah, I think it's...
we can see the second ghoul off the top right there.
Yeah.
So that's a confirmation.
It was a good
good run.
decision, I think. Like, you got to take the value line at that point. That's
What else was
the
it?
line you're
Priest and
committing.
Hunter, right?
There was
Yeah.
Hunter, but
The steady shot's just offsetting the hero power as it is. So you're
Yeah.
committing 2 mana, Life Coach is committing 2 mana.
So-
In this situation, enough of the dudes can eventually go 1 damage, then 2 of them
Exactly.
deal 2 damage. And then those need to be answered. If she can just string together a bunch of threats while Life Coach goes 1 by 1 by 1 on his cards, maybe there's something there. But
yeah.
Face.
at this point, where it's just watching the lion eat the gazelle.
Maybe she gets just a card. Like, you get some real dude power in there. Show him the paladin way of value.
Silver hand.
Yeah.
Draw a Quartermaster right afterwards.
yeah, there
Brilliant.
you go. You
Go
just-
to Grand Crusader into Quartermaster there.
Wow.
The
Yeah,
tech.
That's rotated out.
Those are the
Come on.
cards.
Yeah, we're hoping it's bugged in that situation.
Or that they challenge to a wild duel,
It wouldn't be the first tournament, right?
right? Hey. Oh, that's a good.
That does not pick up any juicy trades.
Yeah, that's
Why
just
do you
4
keep
damage.
thinking about trades, man?
Well, we committed to the value line. We're already there. Like,
Yeah, I think that's the best trade that could have been there. Trade time for the loss.
sometimes
Coach.
you got to do what you got to do.
That is a very decisive game, number 1.
Yeah, that matchup, that's usually how that matchup goes. Like, Dragon Warrior just absolutely destroys the pirate variants. It's just able to get a grip on the board decently well, and it scales so perfect into just removal and taunts.
Yeah, so Eloise had banned away Life Coach's Shaman, and meanwhile, Life Coach had banned away Eloise's Warlock
Okay.
in this one. So Shaman's going to be the answer to Dragon Warrior. And honestly, this is a little bit scary. Dragon Warrior's first goal was kind of to fight against these decks.
And it still is, but 7-7 wins the game when execute costs 2 and you don't play
It's
it.
true. I mean,
Yeah.
Execute's largely been cut to make room for the Pirate package.
I felt that in my skin today.
Let me ask you this. If you have Fiery War Axe out and you play Bloodsail Cultist, do you get the buff from it because you get patches? I've actually never been in that situation.
I personally have never played Bloodsail Cultist first, but typically speaking, the battle cry happens before the minion enters play. It's a little bit a case-by-case instance.
Exactly.
But
Hashtag mad
most
scientist.
of the minions, the battle cry happens, and then the minion enters the field. So
Okay.
I would have to say I expect it not to.
Eloise draws patches again.
It's a little unfortunate. And, after a loss, that could end being so late in the day, that can be something that really tilts you and gets inside your head.
I mean,
At any point in the day.
what are the odds of drawing patches in your opening hand if you have a full mulligan? Do you know?
I don't know exactly, no, but it's not that high. You're only seeing, like 4 or 5 cards?
Yeah, I think it's
Should
probably,
be
it's
about-
got to be somewhere around like the 15-16%.
Yeah, I was
Sure,
about to say
yeah.
15 lower.
Yeah. If anyone out
15 or
there
lower.
knows the math, feel free to tweet at us.
Maybe
with
Life
your-
Coach does.
With your expertise. Oh, I would bet Life Coach knows.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably one of the first things he did the math on.
Think about it. He plays Bloodsail Corsair and Reno. There's no reason that he plays patches in Reno as well.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to get the patches, just come to the patches. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Eloise holding on to this patches here. Be able to couple it with the Flame Tongue later on. Get that pocket removal in there.
One thing I love about the new aggro shaman is being able to push out a pirate on a 1, getting patches and flame tonguing.
Oh, right on 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're gonna see
we're
the
gonna find
interaction. Yeah, no.
Aww.
See, the battle cry happens first.
First
That'd be sick.
That would have been sick. That would have been good, but
I wonder if Lifecoach knew that, where he's like, I've never been here before.
So wait, Lifecoach
Let's
is playing
find out.
cultist in his Dragon Warrior alongside 2 ghouls.
Yeah.
yep, no fierce monkeys.
Okay, no curator
So
as
there's
well.
a
then.
no
Okay.
curator package. Yeah,
It's pretty curious.
Honestly, the curator probably still isn't even that bad,
sure.
It's not bad.
unless he doesn't have the Finley, which
Yeah.
that would seem a little bit crazy to me.
Yeah,
Finley is like a super key card to Dragon Warrior. In the control matchups, it can sometimes just win you the game off life tap. When you're in a race to find damage, the steady shot can make a big impact there. Finley is like perfect for Dragon Warrior.
it is really good. Yeah.
This is rough.
Yes, fighting from behind never is easy.
The thing about drawing the patches is it's not just that you don't get it from the pirate, but it's also replacing a slot in your hand that would have been another card.
That's true.
with a very low quality card.
Yeah.
It's pretty nifty.
I mean, I know some of us have been known to play Stone Tusk Boar from time to time, but not ideal.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, and neither is this.
Was that in Rogue a
Has
while
to-
back?
Yeah, I played Stone Test Burn. It's a freezing trap meta, man. You gotta get rid of the freezing
you
trap.
definitely don't use Salcy Deckhand in
Well,
that situation.
sometimes you don't dagger up. They're really aggressive.
Were you 1 damage off lethal? 'Cause of
Yes,
that?
yeah. That's never lucky.
Should have picked up on the pirate bandwagon
Yeah.
soon enough.
Azure Drake looking like it's about it.
Yeah, after having to sacrifice a Flame Tongue Totem to a War Axe, that never feels good. That's one of the most powerful cards in Shaman if you can get it set up and well positioned, but having to just use it to, semi come back on the board is rough.
It's like scrapping with the Flame Tongue.
Yeah.
All right, it's dead. okay, we're fine. Jade Lightning's a nice draw, though. I mean, now it's alongside Jade Claws as well, so there's a 2/2 and a 3/3 potentially coming next turn.
Those Jade cards can really cause some swings, especially Lightning. It reminds me of a young Implosion.
It's pretty curious for Lifecoach's turn here, though.
That's a really good way to paint it, actually. Because when I read that card, I was like, man, Sixo's got to love this card. And I literally sent him a Jade Shaman list. And he was like, why do you have all these Jade crappy cards in your deck? And I was like, I don't know. Like 2 days later, Spo's #1 on ladder. And everyone's like, Spo's deck is sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I mean, as long as it's making a 2/2, it's like,
What do you think-
rolling
what do you
2 on
think it does
Implosion.
here?
Except it's
It's
like
always 4 damage.
it's like what Implosion should have been, where if you
Sure,
get 4
yeah.
damage, you get 2 imps. If you get 2 damage, you get 4 imps.
Yeah, that was ridiculous how they made it as RNG as it was.
4 and 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, Implosion was a fine card. The problem with that whole sequence was that Implosion onto Piloted Shredder was a common thing.
Oh, yeah, and that was
Yeah.
just a clown fiesta of RNG. That was, oof.
Then he hit for 2.
Yeah. And then you
Bye-bye.
cry.
Wow, this is a
100 times
really interesting play. Lifecoach cutting into the spell power potential a lot. I'd imagine he's...
Because he had double 5s to play available, and he also had first made Iker, which would have been pretty clean, considering the board on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just really afraid of...
And now suddenly the Jade potential is getting very real. No Blackwing Corruptor in hand anymore.
and the tempo swing of the thing from below is also absolutely nuts.
Now
Yeah.
that's a good one.
Okay.
This
could work,
allows the takeout of the 3/3 here with Blood to Icar, Ravaging Ghoul, and Azaz first mate.
Sure, yeah. Not a bad little turn.
Still options, though.
Definitely a good turn. And on Eloise's side, we're going to see 6 mana for Golem Totem, thing from below tempo.
Yeah, the one thing Eloise kind of has to worry about is her hand size is dwindling quite quickly.
But she's playing
Yeah, this is a
Hard
better
quality.
sequence as well, by the way. This will keep the Blood to Icar away from Maelstrom Portal range.
Yep.
That's a solid turn. Doesn't get much better than that.
Till the shaman whips out that
is
spell
exact-
power maelstrom portal thing from below turn.
This is exactly what the shaman ended his turn with, a 1, a 2, and a 3. Now it
That's
just
weird.
It just switched back
Flipped,
to the other
yeah.
side, yeah.
The board flipped.
But even though the board kind of flipped, Eloise still has those Jade counters, stored up. If she finds another Jade card, It's a
gonna be a
4/4.
4/4.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. It doesn't even matter what the Jade card is. If it's making a 4/4, even if the card is not really too useful in that scenario, the added benefit of the 4/4 is going to make it absolutely
I'm
nuts.
thinking Aya Blackpaw would be
Oh, my.
disgusting.
Yeah, but since
Holy
she's
smoke.
playing double Azure Drake and at least one thing from below, I'm pretty inclined to say she wouldn't be playing Aya Blackpaw.
I'd be curious. That card's really good.
It
I
is
mean, if
in
you're
playing
already
Jade
playing the
games, yeah.
Jade cards, you might as well throw it in there.
You might, but she's got to cut something for Azure Drakes and things from below.
Yep.
And eventually she might have cut that because if you haven't played the other Jade cards prior to it, it's not as impactful.
Yeah.
This is a rough one.
As a standalone card, if you haven't built up to it, it's not very strong.
Oh,
That is sick.
that is a good top deck there, allowing Lifecoach to clear off the thing from below,
That-
create a 2/2, and kill off the Searing Totem.
And I'm pretty sure Blood to Icar is actually the only card in the deck that would have created this turn. And there's only one of them left.
It would potentially slam if he runs it, but yeah. And there's Aya Blackpaw.
Oh!
That's going to create a 4/4 and a 5/5.
What's she cutting is the question. Lava bursts?
Yeah, we haven't seen any lava bursts or any sort
Yeah,
of.
not this game so
Yeah.
far.
Goodness, these are like massive draws back to back.
Because she's allowed to play really long games because of these Azure Drakes, these Aya Blackpaw, things from below, alongside the 7/7 and such.
It's the hybrid shaman. A lot of
Yeah.
players have been playing it. I know on at least NA ladder. I think it was like Tyler was a top 5 legend on all 3 servers with the hybrid
yeah.
The regular
Jade
list, though,
shaman.
just full Jades, Pirates, 2 of everything, and Aya Blackpaw. But
Yeah.
It's quite different, though. She's got double Azures and...
Oh, there's no Azures
things
in that
from-
list.
No.
Oh, okay.
Or things from below.
Okay.
So she added that spice of hers onto this
Yeah,
deck.
I would venture to say that Lava Burst is definitely the cut there then.
Yeah,
Just
there's
wouldn't
no way
make
there's
any
a
sense.
lava burst.
Because
We
Lava
haven't
Burst is
seen
not a
it.
tempo card.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing she's playing way more tempo oriented, where she wants to take the board every single game.
Yeah, yeah.
And-
Whereas Lava Burst is more of an all-in card, right?
And if we just kind of compare the last matchup, right, was Pirate Warrior versus the Dragon Warrior, and we were saying the reason why Dragon Warrior is favored is because they cut the burn for more control cards. Well, now if you take Shaman, you cut the burn for more control cards. I guess it's more controlling than Dragon Warrior at that point. So
Good point,
it's
yeah,
able
yeah.
to counter it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're just seeing the full cycle of the deck slightly slowing down more and more.
Like instead of having Blackwing Corruptor, which is not only a body at the same time as it removes something, you have Jade Lightning to
Yeah.
counteract that. So it's your own little Blackwing Corruptor.
You
that
have
it
your
doesn't
own
depend.
Azure Drakes in the build.
Exactly.
To draw your cards.
It
You
doesn't
have Aya
depend on-
Blackpaw to kind
yeah.
of be that Trump value card
Yeah.
that's there.
It's just in the grindy sort of attrition battles, the deck that's just slightly slower has a pretty big edge.
Yeah, it's surprising like how big of a difference that makes too. Like slightly slower is the right word for it too.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the cards they match up pretty evenly with cost. It's just a matter of their true effect. And Lifecoach going face here, he's making a 9/9.
Oh yeah, he's realized, you know what? Aya Blackpaw is a lot of value. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
gotta
punch him in the
erase
face.
Since Aya,
Oh my
Oh, wow.
gosh, that is disgusting right now.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what she needed to prevent Lifecoach from
Ooh.
And a flame tongue.
just going face.
Flame Tongue can't fit in this turn, but yeah, being able to stop the 9/9 from going face and pop Aya Blackpaw to set up your own lethal here. Looks like Eloise has got this one in the bag.
What even gets out of this situation?
Not that.
He's gonna have to start trading. Like
Uh.
it is. I mean, Blackwing Corruptor doesn't even like affect the board here.
Yeah, it can't fire. There's no dragon in hand. If there was maybe a dragon in hand and you're able to get that 9/9 to trade into the 5/5, but it is so defensive. Eventually, you know, the swarm of minions from Eloise's side is going to beat you down. And
Yep. That's
How subtle do you think this change of pace was to the point where Shaman is actually just winning the game outright? Whereas Dragon Warrior controlled the game throughout the first 5 turns or so.
it's just the value. I mean,
It was the Jade counter. The
Yeah.
Jade
The
counter is
Jade
really what
Lightning
did it.
and
Like,
such, yeah.
they were trading back and forth even in card quality. As you said, like the Blackwing Corruptor to the Jade Lightning thing. But Blackwing Corruptor doesn't stack your Jade counter. Jade Lightning does, and
Yeah.
we can see the effect of that right there.
I have Blackpaw, the magic draw.
Oh, yeah.
that
Without
game.
that, she was kind of fizzling out. But as soon as that hit the table,
Wait,
it was
Oh,
lights
he's
out.
looking a little nervous there too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she
Well, I mean, she was.
cuts
If
the
she didn't hit that
sevens.
Aya Blackpaw at the end there, she probably would have got overwhelmed.
Yeah. Lifecoach, meanwhile, it almost doesn't matter win or lose. He just looks exactly the same.
They're just chilling.
Yeah.
Just in the zone. But legit question, actually.
Well, maybe I
we didn't
spoke too
see
soon.
the Flame Wraith Faceless either.
That's true. There was no Flame Wraith Faceless that we
Or
saw.
Live
Your thing
Burst.
from below instead.
Yeah, or Lava Burst. So
Because that's such a punishing move if they ever get to answer it. But in this manner right now, like Drew's not very played, but other shamans, Reno Logs, etc. If you just get the 7/7 out on 3 or 4, it's very hard to deal with, and it just runs away with the game most of the time.
Well, against Lifecoach's Reno Lock in particular, though, he's got the big game hunter in there.
Oh,
so
he does?
Flame Wreath Faceless isn't even that great.
Does he also play Blast Crystal Potion or?
I don't think we've seen Blast Crystal Potion, so he has the
like that card
BGH
a lot.
over that.
And Lifecoach, you mentioned one step slower. Well, one step slower than this Shaman build is going to be Priest. And Dragonade Operative is going to operate super well versus Eloise because she's not trying to kill Lifecoach as quickly as possible. She's trying to play that tempo game.
Sure, so she probably has cards like Maelstrom Portal we see there that could be used to great effect against Shaman boards, or even if the Priest's able to pick up some spot removal with like Lightning Bolts and stuff, help him able to answer Azure Drakes. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, Ignite, I don't have like a ton of experience in this matchup. I have a handful of games with Dragon Priest. Have you played this deck at all?
Yeah. So I believe that Flame Tongue single-handedly can just win the matchup.
Sure.
First of. Second of, if there's no death on the 7/7, obviously you know that just runs away with the game. However, we haven't seen the 7/7s. We do see Azure Drakes instead, though, which are very hard for Priest to deal with generally.
Yeah.
So that contrast between 7/7 or Azure Drakes might actually be very interesting to see how it pans out.
Yeah, there are thinkable lows to hit with those Shadow or Deaths, but not those aren't quite the same cost as a Flame Wreath Faceless.
Maybe a 5/5 Jade Golem. You don't want to wait to see that.
Yeah, if he gets to that point, well,
It's so painful.
could be lights out.
She
And
has
this
no
opening,
pirates, she has nothing.
Yeah, no early game opening here for the Shaman.
Not even a weapon.
Nothing.
I mean, this might be too slow, honestly. Like, this is going to give Lifecoach a ton of time, and he's drawn one of the key cards in this matchup with Cabal Talon Priest.
Yeah, if you're able to get Cabal Talon Priest to land on a Northshire Cleric, that Northshire Cleric usually sticks around a long time.
We were watching a game earlier. I was with Zalay and Tic Tac, and we were looking at a situation where I believe it was you versus Oskaka.
Sure.
And I was in favor of Cabal Talon Priesting your Northshire Cleric and not clearing the healing totem. So that turn after turn, you could just hit the healing totem with Northshire Cleric and then let it heal itself.
I love that.
Until they flame tongue it and...
The healing totem was the lone card there. They didn't like it either.
Okay.
Yeah. But think about how cool you would look.
That would look pretty cool. That would look pretty... Too fancy, though. Priest usually can just walk all over Shaman, especially if it's the pure aggro variants.
Yeah.
If you ever land Cabal Talon Priest early, you just have so much health pool to work with that you just run away with it.
Second Talon Priest.
Wow. No 2-drop, though, which is a little expensive.
Yeah. Well, it's the typical Priest 2-drop.
But they have 2-drops now. They have the, you get the Worm Rest Agent.
Yep.
Yeah, they got 4
Totem
options,
Golem.
too.
Always welcome.
Golem's pretty big, but...
However,
it's not gonna die.
this is where the Talon Priest comes into effect. It's protecting that Northshire Cleric on board. And that's a big problem for Eloise. She's losing a mana this following turn. Lifecoach is getting a 1/6. He's going to start threatening value. He's got Twilight Twilight Guardian to follow this up.
Yeah, I love the Talon Priest. It's such a great card for the Priest builds. And one of the things that the Talon Priest really does is makes Argus so much better in these Dragon Priest decks, because you play your 1-drop and then you land the Talon Priest on it, and that 1-drop sticks around for like ever because of the amount of health it has. And then you land an Argus on that bad boy and you're in business.
Is there ever consideration for second Talon Priest here? Because
no.
if Eloise runs over this Totem Golem and he drops the Twilight Guardian, the Northshire Cleric's vulnerable to Maelstrom Portal. However, if he plays the Talon Priest, he's still got a challenge on the Flame Tongue, and now the Northshire Cleric's a 1/4, so then he can continue to threaten value, and since he has the Blackwing Technician...
He can heal with it next turn.
I think there's merit to that.
I like it, yeah.
Because if your minions tick, how often do you actually need to buff the health of one of your taunts, right? As long as you're always fighting for the board effectively, taunt's not even going to be something you need.
It's just so good, though.
It is a 3/6 instead of a 3/4.
And honestly, if Eloise uses Maelstrom Portal here, Lifecoach has got to be thrilled with that.
Sure, yeah, he would definitely be in an advantageous position. So he does choose to just, keep it simple, drop the big minion.
Yeah.
And,
would you play Thalnos just so that you can position on the left, whereas the minion from Maelstrom will come onto the right side?
That's a good question. I mean, how much value is Thanos really offering here? I feel like Eloise's hand needs to pick up some gas.
That's probably relevant considering that Flame Tongue just gets dealt with.
This is interesting.
I like this play the most. I don't think you need to prioritize getting rid of the cleric just now. If your opponent chooses to try and draw cards, you can just swing the tempo. So
Well, that is a good draw.
that is a good draw. That's going to allow. Well, it's not the greatest because of the buff from the Flame Tongue.
Well, that's true, but if you look at the way this is positioned, Lifecoach now has two options in front of him, which is number one, Azure Drake. If
Okay.
that Azure Drake's sticking to the board, that Holy Nova is a giant threat.
What about
Second
Talon
option,
Priest?
though, is Northshire into the Flame Tongue Totem, Holy Nova. You get to draw a card off that. It clears off the Flame Tongue, puts 2 damage on the Azure Drake, trade over the Twilight Guardian.
What
I
about
don't think that's...
Talon Priest on the taunts? Trading
Okay.
into Azure Drake, healing the taunts, trading into the cleric, and leaving your flame tongue up.
I'm okay with that, too.
What if we just play the biggest minion in our hand and kill the Flame
I'm
Tongue?
okay with that, too. The point I'm getting at is that
Invisible Zone,
Lifecoach has all the options.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not forced to kill the Azure Drake, but it's always
I think it's...
icky that he gets a Maelstrom in bold, for example, as we can see here.
I guess
Yeah.
just killing the Flame Tongue and dropping the Technish. Maybe the Cabal Talon Priest.
Talon
Yeah.
Priest is pretty solid in the sound sphere.
So, I guess the reasoning for this is because the Talon Priest is the largest body he can play, right? If you look at the stat distribution here, it's a 3-4, but it also gives +3 health. So technically, it's kind of like a 3-7.
Yeah.
So his choices for stat distributions there was a 4-4 and no heal on anything, or he could play a 3-7 and 2 additional heals, so 3-9 worth of stats coming onto the table. Or he could play a 3-5 and 2 points of heal, so 3-7 coming onto the table.
You know what's funny about this is I think that you guys are arriving at the same place with completely different thought processes too.
Okay.
Because I imagine he's factoring that in, but I see him seeing a card draw, using a conditional card,
Sure, it is a
protecting
conditional
this
card.
Twilight Drake more. But you guys are coming to the same conclusion, I think, with two completely different lines of thought. That's just really interesting to me.
Well, in this matchup, or any sort of board control matchups, and we have seen this. Any shaman build is a board control shaman build for the most part, and Eloise's build no different than that. It really wants to be on the board, and the best way to deny your opponent from getting on the board is to put literally the most amount of stats on the board.
Yeah. And this is speaking of putting stats on the board. Sometimes your opponent can put damage.
Yeah, that's
the board.
a lot of damage. Just look at the Maelstrom portal being able to deal 9 points worth of damage there.
Yeah, doesn't pick up the any of the chargers to clear off this Twilight Guardian, so left with this board. And I'm going to guess that Northshire Cleric Holy Nova is enough.
Yeah, that seems good to me. No complaints there.
Still options, though.
There's the Blackwing Corruptor option, but I don't like sacrificing your 3-1 like that. It is with the Holy Nova play, it's a 3-3. So
plus
And
you
a
get the card
1-3
draw.
rather than a 5-4.
Yeah, so
I guess
you're-
that's better.
yeah, your options in the field, you could have a 3-3 and a 1-3 or a 5-4, and a 3-3 and a 1-3 is again more stats.
Not only that, it was 2 separate attacks, 2
Yeah.
separate instances of damage.
And you draw a card.
Yeah, plus the other thing this does, too, is it allows Lifecoach to have Blackwing Corruptor plus a heal, plus
Sure.
the Northshire Cleric to clean up maybe a second Azure Drake.
Yeah, or any sort of Manatide totems or
Oh, no!
patches
That is
drawn.
3 games in a row. And she even won the last one.
Wow, that's brutal.
It definitely is. It just crushes your morale just like that.
Well, it's not too bad though. You get to utilize it with the Flame Tongue. Maybe get something done.
Again,
I like in this turn in particular, being able to use patches here to clean off the 3-3 and set up your Totem Golem to contest the Northshire Cleric is pretty sweet.
It's a tough turn. Fighting from behind is always such a weird, peculiar situation because fighting from behind is one of those situations where it's not always most stats on the board. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the best situation where you can actually get back on board?
To make your opponent's value trades awkward.
Yeah,
So
you have to spend in order to get that back and then hope that you can re-spend and make up that value.
I like going for the Flame Tongue play here, trying to contest on the board immediately. One of the reasons why is because the only other option was really to play the Azure Drake. And playing Azure Drake, I really don't like when you're behind because that's your comeback mechanism, is Azure Drake plus Lightning Storm or Azure Drake plus Maelstrom Portal. That is your best way as a shaman to get back on the board. So I like just holding that in your hand until you get an opportunity where you can really let those sparks fly.
Yeah, and if you're Lifecoach's spot here, are you looking at this Netherspite Historian?
Netherspite.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, definitely. It's not the only other option would be maybe.
I was thinking potentially if he doesn't want to use it, it's Northshire Cleric into Flametongue Totem.
And heal the Flame Tongue?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, but why not just drop the Nether Spite, keep pressure going on?
Whoa.
You draw a dragon instead of drawing a card off your deck.
Sometimes you draw a Draken at Operative and suddenly presented with an even tougher turn.
I think your Rupture is still correct, though.
Yeah.
But, what do you kill the Golem?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I like killing the Golem, and then your Corruptor just contests the Mana Tide. You're only really sad, I guess, if Feral Spirits comes down, but then you should be able to utilize your Potion of Madness to take care of the Feral Spirits.
Alongside the Historian.
He agrees, and plenty of value in hand with 2 Average Drakes and an Operative, so Northshire Cleric getting the job done.
She also plays Hex.
Yeah, it's like almost a full mid-range Shaman.
So
with
she
just
plays how many Pirates? Because we only see Buccaneers, right?
We've only seen Buccaneers.
So she plays 2 Pirates to 1 Patches.
Yeah, just 2 Pirates,
no
1 Patches,
Southsea.
mid-range Shaman.
Have we not seen any Southseas?
No Southseas. It's just mid-range Shaman.
Interesting.
With the little pirate opening. That's it.
Pretty good.
Not too bad. We haven't seen any Thunderbluff Valiants yet or anything like that, so there's no big kicker in it, but decent enough mid-rangey sort of stuff. Tempo Hex.
Yeah. I think it's just the right call.
Yeah, Aya is so small right now. Jade counter is a 1/1.
Yeah.
So Aya Blackpaw, creating a 1/1 does not feel good. It's not the time to start ramping your Jade counter. It's the time to get back on the board. And once you're on the board, then you can start ramping that up.
What about Potion of Madness right now?
Here.
Get to take care of the Tunnel Trog?
How so?
You could use the
Historian. It's going to shift over to the Historian.
with the Flame Tongue. You want to take the Flame Tongue?
Oh, okay, sure, but
Interesting.
it's like just 6.
Sure.
I mean, you could take the Flame Tongue,
Yeah.
use the Historian to kill the Trog, use the Frog to kill the Totem. Your opponent just has the Flame
It
Tongue,
won't
right?
shift that way because the Tunnel Trog's going down to 1/3 at that point. So you keep your Historian around.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Pretty good point, actually. Okay, so you get left with the Flame Tongue at the end of this turn, and you spend both of your minutes trading.
Discovery options there were fairly weak for Lifecoach. Manatide Totem was far and away the best option for him. It's a small-time Buccaneer.
And again, she plays
something else.
Manatide Totem as well in this Shaman deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just mid-range Shaman, man.
It's like 45 cards, huh?
No. It's 2 Pirates over Thunderbluff Valiants.
Yeah, sure.
And then it's -1 and something for the patches.
And all
Yeah.
the Jade shit. No Jade Spirits, though.
Yeah, no one runs Jade
Yeah,
Spirits.
Jade Spirit sucks.
Yeah, they only play those in the Druid builds.
Lifecoach is going to take it slow, and at 30 in this board, why not?
Sure.
You might have not seen that play, actually.
I mean, I don't think it's a good enough value out of your Potion of Madness. You can do so much better later on. Just have to be patient and find the right moment.
I mean,
Well.
for 1 mana, killing a Trog and a Healing Totem, not too bad.
She's looking for the storm. Well, she got a piece of the storm.
A more targeted, functional
Yeah.
way of thinking.
Not really the whole shebang, but maybe it can get the job done. In conjunction with the Healing Totem, it can kill the dragon that threatens to value trade your dragon.
Yep. Just light showers today.
Slight showers.
I like the Feral Spirit.
Yeah.
You're kind of throwing it away here sometimes, but I think this is just her best chance to get back in this game, is occupy attacks and look for better value trades. So the Tunnel Truck going into the Blackwing Technician here is actually really smart. It is kind of a sacrifice, but she's trading up the tempo there and also trying to isolate this Draconid Crusher so that Lightning Bolt can eventually take it out, which will leave her with the board position here.
Yeah, going wide, trying to make the trades super awkward for Lifecoach.
It's always awkward when you're playing Potion, and there's a Flame Tongue, and then there's Ferals. And it's just, you can't do much.
Yeah, the Potion doesn't trade in super clean at the moment. Goes with the Azure Drake.
Death on Azure Drake ever a consideration here?
I mean, you've played against the Shaman deck already. You saw no Flame Wreath Facelesses.
Yep. You saw Thing from Below?
Pretty inclined to do
Yeah,
this.
I like the
Yeah,
Death.
I like it.
Because nonetheless, it's an Azure Drake. If you can Death an Azure Drake, hey, I think I'd take that.
Honestly, if he's going to Potion of Madness here, I think I would like to see Potion of Madness on the Flame Tongue. Unless he wants to kill the Flame Tongue here.
The problem with Potion of Madness on the Flame Tongue, though, is it puts it in position, right? Because doesn't it slide it? It would come back on the other side.
Yeah, so he'd rather kill the Flame Tongue here than kill the Feral Spirits, is the thinking here.
Yep.
Oh, I got it. I got you. Well, that overload is it's making this turn a little bit tough.
Even if he had 8 mana, what would you do? Like Bolt the Azure, trade into it, play double minion?
You'd hope to roll a Spell Power Totem.
Yeah,
or rather,
it gets contested by the 5/6 though. Is thing from
rather you would roll a Spell Power Totem, is what you would do.
If you had 9 mana, roll Spell Power, Bolt the Azure, and
No, you'd bolt the Draconid Operative, run the 2-1 in, right?
I don't know, Spell Power is scary.
Not if you can bolt the Azure, because then the Operative would have go into the 2/2 Feral.
Yeah, the Spell Power gets kind of real at this point in the game because Azure Drake plus Holy Nova can happen now.
It's definitely true. That's a sad little Jade Golem.
That's the beginning of something great.
Yeah, it's a sad little thing from below as well. An Operative right there, ready for the kill.
The stats on Operative, man, it doesn't mess around.
It's a secret agent.
It's a secret agent.
Secret agents are powerful, man. Haven't you ever seen like a James Bond film?
Yeah.
That guy's tough.
Selects a card from your opponent's deck, too.
Uh-oh. Hey, that's a 5-point. It's 5-point Jade Lightning.
Lifecoach wants to play some Jade Columns.
Lines up perfectly with the thing from below to answer it, and that's the power of the Draconid Operative. You just get a good card every time. I'd say it's even better than drawing from your own deck. Just because you get to discover the card that's more ideal for the situation.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. So if you look at the card, 5 mana 5/6 is honestly average on stats for a vanilla minion, basically. But then the effect is better than a card draw. So typically speaking, you look at the 5 mana slot for card draw, you're going to see Azure Drake, which is only a 4/4. So
yeah, and Lifecoach deciding he wants to start closing in on the life total from Eloise, pushes 5, and she is on a major back foot right here. Small time Buccaneer, probably the worst card in the deck.
Yeah, she was really hoping to try and find maybe Jade Lightning, something that could get back on the board. I don't know, maybe a Flame Tongue Totem would be pretty sweet.
She used
too.
both Azure Drakes. Azure Drake and a Lightning Storm would have been a pretty hot draw.
Yeah, I know she's used at least one, but we haven't even seen any Lightning Storms out of this build yet. So.
Yeah, I would presume it's not there with the pirate package. Oh, that's probably the third cut.
Okay.
I'd have had one, just as
yeah, maybe there's one or something.
Do you know if she runs 4 weapons? Double Spirit Claw. She should, though. Double Spirit Claw.
I'd be pretty shocked if this deck didn't have
Right.
Spirit Claws in it. That card's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
double
just-
Jade Claws, of course.
That's just actually one of the best Shaman cards.
Yeah.
So she has to run those 4 weapons.
I would certainly think so, but I don't know. We haven't seen him yet, though. I don't know if I've seen him in another series or not.
I've seen the Jade Claws before. I've seen the Spirit Claws before. So, yeah.
The Jade Claws for sure.
Maybe she runs a 2-to-1 ratio. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that's advised.
That's a sad Buccaneer.
I mean, she's
That
going to
is-
hold it back, I guess. She's saving it for the reload in case she gets AoE'd.
Maybe trying to bluff something here.
Sure, bluff some burn. I don't know, you're trying to bluff 20.
Oh my gosh, that's another Operative.
Holy
There's a Spirit
smokes.
Claws.
Another Jade Lightning. I mean,
And
Lifecoach
another
is...
Valiant.
There's a Valiant in the deck.
This
okay.
is a 45 card deck. Ignite is right.
I told you. We're back to
Maybe it's
Yu-Gi-Oh,
like
man.
maybe it's like a Reno pirate shaman. You run 2 Buccaneers.
No.
She might have 2 patches in there with how often she's drawn it so far.
Oh my. Wow, that is a disgusting board.
That's a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, it's all over. Nothing you can do. There's 3 secret agents knocking down your door.
It's like the whole Navy SEALs are showing up to get this job done. Lifecoach says, I've got some intel for you. 2-1 lead now. Dragon Priest, honestly, it feels like a feast or famine strategy. Its matchups seem like they're really good or really bad.
It's pretty well-rounded, just a good deck, in my opinion.
What do you think about the matchup of Dragon Priest versus Rogue? I've heard a lot of people talking about this matchup this weekend, and it sounds like the Rogue players think that they are going to stomp this matchup, and the Dragon Priest players don't think it's that bad.
I think it's like 55 to 60 in favor of Rogue. But there's a lot of openings where Dragon Priest can put on a lot of pressure and just beat him down. Like, I was playing against Osaka in this tournament, and I had 3 draws to try and find. I had 2 Arguses or 1 Holy Nova as outs with 12 cards left, and I had 3 draws at it and just kind of whiffed at it, but got him down to 1 HP, you know? So if I would have hit one of those, would have just had it. So it's pretty close.
You had to have missed damage there somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I just missed a damage throughout the course of the game.
Oh, it's trading you want to do recently.
Well, against Rogue, you gotta be kind of careful. But that's how you gotta. If you're gonna win this matchup as the Priest player, you have to be able to identify when are you allowed to just disrespect the Rogue and go face, which is very risky because sometimes they just sap your minion after you go face, and then they cold blood their guy and kill you.
Yeah.
Now that Rogue doesn't have access to Blade Flurry as it usually does, it's always going to have a very hard time dealing with curve decks, right?
Wow.
Such as Priest, Dragon Warrior, and such. Therefore, as long as Priest can curve 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, there's going to be so much damage coming into the Rogue that he's going to need a myriad of cards like double prep or prep sap, pillager happening, etc. Then
what world are we living in where Priest gets the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Priest is
it does nowadays.
I know.
Strong aggro deck,
I know.
man.
It's making me sad.
And you get the operative in there, you start getting burned, you get the cold bloods, you get the eviscerates, even conceal when you get a big board out there is a lot of potential burn.
Playing Dragon Priest recognize much more often that what they want to do is curve out, not play Dragonfire Potions. So they cut Dragonfire Potions because they want to be the aggressor and not play defensively.
Yeah.
Therefore, they do not have an actual answer to conceal boards. So more often than not, Rogue can just conceal up a very strong board and know that he's not going to die because there's no burst on the other side.
Yeah, so if you're in Lifecoach's position here, you're looking at this hand of Nether Spite Historian and Cabal Talon Priest, and I've heard you say over and over again, get the most stats on the board.
Yeah.
That looks like Talon Priest to me.
I do oftentimes like Talon Priesting the Northshire Cleric. It helps it stick around, but
I think
he
also
wants to
accesses
save
5
this coin for
as soon as possible.
Blackwing Corruptor, right?
Yeah.
So I understand that as well with the hand and the way that it's positioned, you know. If he had maybe 2 3s, you'd go coin 3, but right now if he coins a 3, he's looking at 2 and 1 afterwards.
Yep.
Alex Straza.
Yeah, I actually
the heal, I like it.
Exactly. So a lot of times if he's able to fight for board, Eloise is going to be hunting for the last couple points damage to get this done.
Or you're healing.
Right. So
Rogue.
No, you heal yourself
Yeah.
back up after they go all in.
You don't want to get there.
ideally no, but matchup gets a little bit scrappy sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if Eloise doesn't draw Gadget, she's got to go all in, right? That happens, what percent of the time? You know,
Yeah,
like
definitely.
20-25% of the time. There's
Maybe
like
Cold Blood Conceal runs away as well.
Yeah. So then they try and all in you with the Cold Blood Conceal, and you Alex yourself back up.
And hope.
Then Leroy pops up.
And
Well,
you-
you're just dead.
Yeah.
That's how Leroy works. Super
Do you
weak
not,
turn
do you
here
like not
as well.
fanning here?
I
Because you're
don't-
cycling. If they want to cycle, hey, that's fine. They spend their whole turn and you develop your 5/4.
I think she's probably eyeing towards like the Azure Drake fan on turn 5, like maybe drawing a backstab by that point and being able to
That means you
kill
only have
something.
2 health on the other side.
Well-
You have 3 or more.
The thing about the fan, though, is you already have a play for turn 4. You already have a play for turn 5. What are you really cycling for?
But your turn 4 play becomes weaker the more minions your opponent plays. So if you fan and your opponent gets greedy to the point where he wants to draw an additional card for 0 power.
You're not going to rely on Lifecoach making a misplay. Like,
Honestly, I do like the point you're trying to make here, though, which is inducing mistakes. Like, a lot of times, if your hand is so bad that you need your opponent to play bad to win, that's certainly an out worth considering.
Him not
Yeah,
developing is what gives you the time.
discarding a card to try and make your opponent play bad is not great.
Not versus Lifecoach, no, because
cycling.
he's not going to play that.
You're cycling a bad card in the matchup.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
you don't need anything yet.
And also, with the prep fan and a dagger up, you can kill a 3 health minion that way, too, if you have the Azure Drake out.
I think
like
you're
holding.
undervaluing the fan. I think it's potentially useful with spell power at some point later.
It'll be
on
great
in
if
the
she
match.
draws backstab, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I see. That's one of the things I see a lot of rogue players do all the time is just always cycle fan in matchups where they're like, yeah, it's not that great. But if you already have cards to play for the next turns, you don't need to jump the gun on cycling it.
Yeah, see-
Maybe it's useful for something.
You like fanning here if your hand is like coin, prep,
Oh, yeah,
conceal,
yeah.
cold
100%.
blood.
Yeah. But if you got Tomb Pillager into Azure Drake, I'm all for holding
Yep.
the fan, letting things ride. It's right now is the only spell in her hand that she can even prep later on. So if she draws Gadget and she preps the fan and then she draws like another minion, Now suddenly you don't have very many spells to cycle with a gadget. It gets awkward and the prep kind of hangs in your hand. So depending on your hand, I think you need to evaluate whether or not you want to cycle it. And I think right here was a fine time not to cycle it.
Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
And Lifecoach is also picking up what Eloise is putting down. Blackwing Corruptor, the Nether Spite Historian. That's a swing turn, and that's damage pouring in. And this is going to quickly add up if Eloise can't find some removal.
Yeah. Already down to 23.
Well, we're looking for backstab. We're looking for eviscerate. Something is going to need to be drawn here because this is about to get out of hand.
Yep.
That's not it.
That's nothing that's helped.
There is the option of coin the Small-Time Buccaneer to get patches, and then prep fan and use the patches plus dagger to clear the Blackwing Corruptor.
Okay.
Or coin conceal and capitalize on spell damage next turn.
Yeah.
That's also an interesting option.
Falling behind so hard, right? Double fan with spell damage would be insane, but you need to fetch it. And Azure Drake is not sticking around if you don't stealth it up.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of like stealthing it to fight for the board a little bit.
Because it feels like you're running away, running very behind, right?
Yeah,
It's
and you
such a
already
big
have
board.
so many great tools to cycle with gadgets, and if you draw it, you got the prep, you got the other coin, and you have a Tomb Pillager that eventually turns into a coin, then I don't think you really need all of that with the gadget.
Is it ever worth considering getting the Small-Time Buccaneer alongside the Conceal, so that way the Fan of Knives challenges multiple minions at that point?
At that point, though, you're
that
using
point's
both
really
coins.
expensive, though. That's 2 coins.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
That's my concern.
I
she's
like
gonna
this
go for the
middle
Conceal.
ground. Yeah.
Wow.
I like the middle ground here.
That's a crazy play.
Yeah.
Because then if you actually draw Auctioneer, it's pretty dead if you use the second.
Yeah.
There's the secret agent.
I honestly think that she would have liked to consider that more, because she was considering clearly the Conceal and the Azure Drake. If she had another 75 seconds there and thinks about the Small-Time Buccaneer, I'm curious what actually comes into mind at that point.
It's a lot of resources, man. That second coin.
She is really far behind.
I mean, you always are at this point as Rogue. It just takes one little backstab or whatnot, and then suddenly
Rogue's great, isn't it?
you just flip the table on him. But
I usually flip the table on Rogue. It's not quite how you're thinking. It's usually just because I'm angry.
Here comes what the operative.
Edwin
into.
Swashbuckler Sap.
Okay.
Wow.
I guess.
Sap's feeling good.
Yeah. Sap is a really strong tempo card, and that's what you want when you're trying to rush somebody down.
That's a card that Priestess really doesn't have access to.
Yeah.
Like, Shadow Word Death's about the closest thing. I swear, when you take the card from Draconid Operative
start off with
that's on the far left, they
Top
draw the middle one. I've seen this happen in like what feels like every single time.
Your brain automatically notices patterns.
We got to see this happening first, see what he draws.
Okay, so Prep Fan, no backstab is active at the moment, but she does have SI in the build.
That is potential damage later on.
So
Patches.
Buccaneer, Patches. I imagine that Cold Blood could happen here. That'll wipe out the Operative.
5-4.
Yeah, going really defensive with it.
She doesn't really have the life total to play with here either, so getting the Patches plus the dagger to take out the Blackwing Corruptor and then
Sap.
Azure Drake on the...
That's
Sap.
killer.
Yeah, that's...
Operative is one of the strongest cards
That is disgusting.
in the game. And that's right there.
I feel like that seals the game pretty much.
Well, I mean, she could always just draw a gadget and then draw her whole deck.
How feasible is that? One prep's gone.
Tomb
There's only
Pillager,
one
then,
kind of free
then
coin.
another turn.
She doesn't have time for that one Tomb Pillager to fetch a coin.
Well, maybe not with those trades. That is an awfully value-oriented trade. And Holy Nova gets picked up as well.
Doesn't do much.
Doesn't do much here. I mean,
Oh,
Sap
yeah,
on the
it's fine.
Edwin is happening, but
It's, yeah.
You can value trade your Corruptor, but he always gets pings.
So you know there's no second fan because of the way Eloise kind of played that. If she had a second fan, she would have played both fans, cleared
Right.
the board. So I don't think you need to respect spell power at all. I think you just jam 8 to the face, drop the Twilight Guardian, because if there were more spells to be played that turn, they would have been played with the spell power. But Lifecoach going to be a little bit safe. He feels he's far enough ahead that he can just get away with taking that trade there.
Well, with the Twilight Guardian here and the Holy Nova in hand, this does represent lethal with just the Twilight Guardian plus the Blackwing Corruptor. And I feel like in that spot, he's almost playing around the draw of fan here when he doesn't heal up. So Eloise is going to need a way to clear the Twilight Guardian, or she is dead.
He could also try and put more stats on the table.
That allows the trade to happen.
Yeah, that's the downside with that.
Yeah, I like the Guardian.
Yeah, me too.
He doesn't.
He doesn't like the Guardian. This doesn't set up lethal, though, and that's my big concern with it.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way, too.
Like,
hey, what do you think of this?
I mean, instead of putting down 3, you put down 5. 5 that allows his other 5 to get contested by the board.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure, it doesn't set up lethal like Firebat said, so...
yeah, that's the most important part in this entire situation, I think, was setting up lethal. You force your opponent to have something. They've shown weakness. Now punish them and destroy them.
Yeah. Military General Firebat. Lieutenant Commander, what's the order? Full steam ahead, Twilight Guardian to block for the Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah, that's what needs to happen.
Men-at-Arms, we've got God on our side. The Holy Nova's ready.
That's how Priest is now. That's the new Priest. It's military Dragon Priest. Aggro.
The new archetype.
If he drew Mind Blast there, it just would have been the master.
He would have been just next level.
Yeah.
He's already on board with everything. He's like, yeah, Priest does this in the lineup.
I mean, suddenly this is like a scary position. Both minions that Lifecoach plays can be killed. Mm-hmm. He's dropping Eloise to 4, but the reload isn't quite there.
Yeah, Eloise only has Leroy Jenkins at the moment.
3 to the face.
I think he dropped the Northshire.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just an extra body.
Get it in there.
Eloise plays a Swashbuckler. You're going to have lethal with Northshire Cleric, with Potion of Madness.
Tries to cycle
Holy Nova.
Thalnos,
Yeah.
you know, like anything.
Give away that Northshire Cleric.
Just
That's what I think. I mean, the minions aren't living anyway.
Well, Eloise doesn't have enough trades to take the value trade on the Northshire Cleric. She has to respect the other minions on the board. Is this the Leroy fan turn?
Honestly, I think it is.
Then
You can value trade over the Northshire.
with the Leroy. Yeah.
With the Leroy.
Oh, damn. You just value trade everything and Nova. Lose your board.
Gosh.
And you're 2 health.
Is that the best way to get back in the game, though?
It might be a risk you got to take.
It is, because...
Is there any consideration to Tomb Pillager into the Azure Drake, Edwin over the Blackwing Technician, try to preserve that in the face of Holy Nova?
Well, the thing that Eloise is looking at here is Lifecoach took a giant dragon at the beginning of the game that's been sitting in his hand forever. So she's thinking maybe that's Chromagus, you know, whatever it may be.
Swashbuckler.
Yeah.
If Eloise doesn't full value trade, she could die. Or she could just die.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What's gonna happen? Oh.
Value.
Playing around it.
Oh, he's giving up the Leroy, and this plays around the Holy Nova.
Okay.
I like it.
Plays around the Holy Nova quite
Does
nice.
it play around 2 Holy Novas, though? Back-to-back turns.
2 Holy Novas is going to spell disaster.
Oh, and when Lifecoach plays that fast, you are in
Swashbuckler
trouble.
can get healing. Swashbuckler can get healing.
You are in major trouble
Greater
when
healing
Lifecoach plays that
potion.
fast. Swashbuckler is going to have to draw a healing card here, or Eloise is out of the tournament. That could
That
draw
could get a healing. Greater healing potion. She's still in it. No, that's all
potion.
over.
So that card gets you a potion from priest cards, right? The priest potions.
Is any potion in the game.
Including Kazakh's potions?
No.
Those-
Just the
cards
ones
that are
named
cards.
potions.
So like there's the Fellfire potion, Volcanic potion, Greater Healing potion, Mind-Size potion.
Lifecoach 3-1 over Eloise. Return kills on their second set.
Yeah, and we've been saying that the whole time. Like, Priest sometimes just gets them.
I mean, that was tough. Eloise was put in some really hard spots, and a lot of this is just the power of Draken and Operative. Bought a lot of tempo against a 10-10 Edwin Van Cleef, presenting 5-6 bodies, the ability to push a lot of damage in the right situations. Just, it's Lifecoach's day in this series.
There you go.
I am a little bit curious about the turn with the Technician and the Twilight Whelp, though. And
we have to ask him about that, right?
Yeah. That is definitely the first question there, but a good set either way. Lifecoach, welcome. 3-1 set, and you move on out of the group. It's got to be feeling good.
Yes, it does.
Definitely.
So we had a question about a turn in that game specifically. You have the option between the Blackwing Technician and the Twilight Whelp, or the Twilight Guardian with the Corruptor on board. Walk us through that turn and what's going through your head.
Well, no Zeps being played yet. We played the Draconid Operative, so we know that 2 turns before there was at least 1 Zep in the deck. But there is a certain likelihood of her having Zep, especially after having such bad early game turns. So I think it's probably 60% that she got Zep. And well, then the 3/6 taunt obviously is way worse than the Draconid, than the Blackwing, whatever, 3/5 and the web.
Yeah, because we were looking at it, if she didn't have an answer that turn, you just had lethal with the Holy Nova. So you just feel like you got the long game there if you have multiple threats and she has to handle everything on board.
Yeah, after she skipped the first 5 turns, then played Coin into Conceal, and then played the 10-10 Edwin with all her resources, I was pretty sure that the Dragon Priest might outvalue the Rogue. Yes.
Okay,
And
cool.
that snap you got after Operative was pretty big.
Yeah, definitely, but I mean that's what the operative does, right? So
course.
against fast decks, you get cheap spells and proactive spells, which are helping you against fast decks, and against slow decks, you're just picking the bombs they play.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Firebat, anything in that series that really stood out to you?
Really stood out to me. No, I was just happy to see Priest win. I think Priest is one of my favorite decks. I love the Operative. All the Rogue players have been trash talking Priest, and it's pretty cool to see Priest get a W.
What about you, Ignite? Anything in that matchup that you found exceptional?
You know what I think about Priest?
Not
No,
a
but
big
honestly,
Priest player.
it was beautiful play by Lifecoach on the Dragon Priest side. And it just goes to show how Priest can actually, to a certain extent, be favored versus Rogue, as long as you can keep up the aggression in the early game. And you build your deck in such a way that happens as often as possible. And that's what Lifecoach tried to accomplish, and he made it happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, to be fair, she also kind of blanked out the first 4 turns. So
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, that
She had a
probably
pretty bad
helped a
hand
little
there.
bit. Yeah.
She drew patches like 3 out of 4 games.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
something
was
about
crazy.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
drew patches so many times.
Well, either way, it's exceptional play, and Lifecoach, it's always a pleasure to watch your mind at work. Congratulations on the set, and good luck for the rest of the
Yeah,
tournament.
thank you very much.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap up the matches for today. Let's take a look at the groups that we have now that the top 16 for this tournament is set. And there you can see them. And wow, look at how these are stacking up. Winner of Maverick or Jackie Chan is going to be moving on to Group B there, but Group A is looking tough.
Yeah, for sure. And then even like Group C, we got the Reynad Amaz showdown. I'm sure everyone's going to be super psyched to see how that one unfolds.
Yep. Group D, 6-0 and Show, Yagut and Orange. These guys have had some serious tournament performances. Mr. Yagut's got his work cut out for him.
Group D is Sweden versus Germany, man.
Sweden versus Germany. There you go, yeah.
I'm
There's
really
a story.
looking forward to this.
Yeah, there's storylines in every group. Should be super exciting.
Yeah.
And Stan Stifka's got the Control Warrior. I'm interested to see how long that's going to carry him.
Yeah, to me, that's something that's really cool is the Maverick Jackie Chan match. Like both of these guys in the past have kind of been known for playing a little bit off the wall decks. Jackie Chan more so than Maverick.
Egg Druid.
Yeah, but Maverick has been known to mix it up at times.
Yeah, sure. Dragon Control Warrior. He was winning tournaments with that last patch.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a pretty solid build. So really looking forward to how these groups are going to play out tomorrow. Goodness, this tournament has been so cool. What's been your favorite part of this so far?
My favorite part has been playing, of course. That is, that's why I come to tournaments.
Yeah, what about you, Ignite?
I would say the same, but we both lost, right?
Yeah, well, win, lose is still playing.
It feels bad, man. I came in today. I missed my flight yesterday. That's my fault, but I came in today like ready, pumped up to play, and didn't go my way, unfortunately. But it's always fun to be here. There's the Christmas spirit now, and it feels like we're going to have 2 Christmases, right? Just right here and right back at home.
Yeah, I can feel you on that one. SeatStory has been an unbelievable event for us all so far. So that's going to do it for today, but we have plenty more action coming up throughout the weekend. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. So follow here to the channel to know when it goes live, but there's 2 more days of play here at SeatStory Cup 6. So for everyone in production, for Firebat, for Ignite, and for myself, thank y'all for watching, and have a good night.